What book are we reading today? Let's see what Snoopy got. How Not to Be Killed by a Zombie. Okay, that's Snoops. This is Snoopy. Alright. Okay, and we have, it's by Magic Wagon, and then by Bear Inspector. How Not to Be Killed by a Zombie. And here we got the town. Okay, we got Woodland Cemetery, Hilltop Cemetery, Evergreen Cemetery. So there's 3 cemeteries in this town, and it's a zombie book. You know what that means. Okay, we got Jared's house, we got Marshfield Groove, we got Barry's house, we got Mitch's house, Stan's house, Amy's house, and yeah, and I'll let you guys see that. You can pause the video and zoom in if you really want to look at it closer. But that's the whole town. That's the layout of the town. And the cemeteries are up on top, and then one down here at the bottom. Okay. Chapter 1. Lucy got a scare. Barry's Diary, Saturday, March 19th, 7:05 p.m. Lucy was scared in the cemetery. She usually pulls so hard on her leash that I can barely keep up. After dinner, we were out near the old Marshfield Groove Chapel. Lucy's always smelling for rabbits or squirrels. She had her head down and was following a trail, sniffing like crazy. Then she stopped. She started shaking and hid behind me. So Lucy is their dog, Barry's dog. Barry's the main character, because we're reading Barry's diary. Okay. I didn't see anything strange, but she kept staring at the gravestone. It said, Alma Simmons, born 1850, died 1862. 12 years old, just a year older than I am. I wonder if they had 6th grade back in the 1800s. Did they have 6th grade back in the 1800s? That's a good question to Google. We walked home. Lucy kept looking back and whining. Did she see a ghost? There are lots of them in our town. All 4 cemeteries are haunted. I didn't see anything strange, but she kept staring at a gravestone. It said Alma Simmons, born 1850, died 1862. 12 years old, just a year older than I am. I wonder if they had 6th grade back in the 1800s. We walked home. Lucy kept looking back and whining. Did she see a ghost? There are lots of them in our town. All 4 cemeteries are haunted. Lucy never seemed to be bothered by ghosts before, but now she's curled up on the floor of my bedroom. Her eyes are wide open. She's shivering. Lucy got scared. At Marshfield Chapel, I don't know what was there. Maybe a rotten apple. I'm the king of stupid poems like that. It's my best talent. I'll go back to the cemetery tonight. I'll check Alma's grave again. Dogs can see things in daylight that we can't. But sometimes they're visible at night for humans. Barry Bannon pulled open a drawer. He pushed aside some socks. He felt under his t-shirts. There was his flashlight. Have you seen it? He asked Lucy. Lucy stood up and wagged her tail. She stretched back and straightening her front legs. Then she yawned. Probably like that. Barry found the flashlight in a second drawer. He checked it. The beam was getting weak, so he changed batteries. He patted Lucy on the head. "Are you over that scare now?" he asked. "I'm going back out. You relax." Lucy followed him down the stairs. She was mostly a mix of Labrador and Hound. Her hair was the color of cream. There was a golden streak along her spine. It went all the way to the tip of her tail. In the kitchen, Lucy went straight to her leash. She pointed at it with her nose and looked up at Barry. Then she winked. "Didn't you just walk her?" asked Barry's mother. "Less than an hour ago," Barry said. "Looks like she wants to go again." His mom said, "Fine. With me." Barry said, "I was going out anyway." When they got outside, Barry knelt next to Lucy. "I thought you were scared," he said. "I'm going back by the chapel." "Are you sure you want to come?" Lucy started pulling, headed for the cemetery. Barry followed. Marshfield Grove was the biggest of the 4 cemeteries in town. The Bannons lived right by the cemetery. Barry had friends who lived on the edges of each of the other graveyards. They often got together to talk about scary things they'd seen or heard. Several times they'd fought ghosts or other spirits. They called their group of zombie hunters. They called their group the Zombie Hunters. Barry's friend Mitch lived next to Evergreen Cemetery. It was swampy and had thick bushes. Stan lived at the edge of Hilltop Cemetery. Amy lived near Stan, and Jared's house was next to Woodland Cemetery because there were so many cemeteries. The town of Marshfield was also known as Graveyard Cemetery. There was a stiff breeze this evening. It rattled the branches off trees. No leaves were out yet. The trees are just beginning to show the first signs of new buds. There had been snow on the ground just a few days before. It had melted in a hurry on one warm day. Tonight it was cold again. Lucy kept her head down, sniffing every inch of the trail. They walked this way at least twice every day. Each trip seemed new to Lucy. There was always a new smell. It was nearly spring, so the ground was thawing. That brought many old smells too. Barry thought he heard a girl's voice calling. It sounded like it called for Lucy just when he thought the trees were tall, thick. Even on a sunny day, these patches of woods were dark at night. Like this, you couldn't see far at all. Lucy stopped and leaned toward a spot on the hill. She touched it with her nose. "I guess a mouse crossed the spot." "Huh," Barry said. "Or maybe a bird landed there." Barry heard the girl's voice again. He was sure she said, "Lucy." Lucy kept sniffing and pulling, but when Barry turned towards the chapel, she stopped. "It's okay," Barry said. "We won't get too close." Lucy stayed right at her side as they climbed the hill. The simple chapel was square and made of stones. It had been empty for years. The door, the windows were boarded up. The sun never shined on the chapel because of the very tall pine trees. There were a few dozen graves in a shaded spot behind the chapel. all were from the 1800s. Gravestones were small and made of granite. The ground was bumpy. The sky was fully dark now. Barry shined the flashlight on the stones. He held the beam on the one that said Alma Simmons. Lucy let out a whimper. She was wagging her tail, but she looked scared. Barry leaned over and rubbed her back. Here's Barry and Lucy. What do you see? He whispered. Who's there? Lucy took a step backward. She lowered her head and growled. She tucked her tail between her legs, then she barked. Barry stared at the gravestones. Come on, he said, giving the leash a gentle tug. Just a little closer. Lucy dug in her feet. She wouldn't move. Barry stepped forward anyway, as far as the leash would let him. He moved the light in the small circle. Everything seemed calm. The grass around the graves were brown. It was matted down from being under the snow all winter. Barry took a few more steps. It was cold up here on the hill. He wished he wore gloves. A brisk wind hit him in the face. His teeth began to chatter. Guess we should go back, he said. He turned toward home, but Lucy wasn't there. Lucy, he called. He grabbed the end of the leash and clasp was fine. The clasp was fine, but Lucy was nowhere to be seen. How could she have gotten loose? She'd never run away, and he would have heard her run. Lucy, he called again. His stomach felt tight and cold. She couldn't have gone far, but where was she? He shined the light in a wide circle and called her name again. Lucy was his best friend, and she always stayed close by. He ran part way down the hill, then back up. He looked behind a huge marble gravestone. Then he ran back toward the chapel, calling her name. His heart sped up as he heard a familiar noise. It sounded like Lucy's dog tags shaking on her collar. Suddenly, he saw her. She was running to him from behind the chapel. Barry dropped to his knees and hugged her tight. He clipped the leash to her collar. How did you get loose? He asked. Why did you run? Lucy licked his face. Then she pulled toward him. She was shaking again. Come on, Barry said. And they started running down the hill. As they reached the bottom, Barry heard the girl's voice calling from near the chapel. Lucy, she said. Where have you gone? Chills ran down Barry's spine. And that's chapter 1. How not to be killed by a zombie.